Delegate Assembly, come to order. Would you lead us in the pledge, please?
You're right there. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get our law enforcement report, just want to remind you to read the minutes. I'm going to ask that they be approved after the law enforcement. And let's keep in mind all the police officers that are being shot all over this country and that are dying. Let's keep them in our prayers. Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Fausto. Good morning, Century Village. Hope everyone is doing well. We have our regional major, Major Matino's here with us. I don't have much to point out today, just if I could just, and I'll turn it over to Lieutenant Monat to point out our crime report. Please don't leave your key fobs in your car. We're experiencing a lot of thefts on the north end of the county, and we do message boards, we do crime prevention. There's a lot of information. I mean, the key fobs are there to make your life convenient, but you don't want to make a criminal's life convenient and leave it in your car. And I don't know if you guys have these type of vehicles, or maybe your family members do. There's some key fobs that if you leave them in your vehicle, they activate your side mirrors. Right, okay, so these car thieves know if the key fob's in the vehicle because they know the vehicles, the type of models that the side mirrors activate on. So they just drive around and they look for the side mirrors to be activated in the out position, which is the drive position, and they know the key fob's in the car. So they just open the car, they get in, and they drive off. And these cars usually end up in Broward or Miami-Dade, and by the time, as a victim, you're aware in Palm Beach County, they're either on a container ship somewhere or by the time we get the GPS involved, we're recovering your car after it's been involved in another crime. So please don't leave your key fobs in the car. That's all. We had to deal with a couple of those cases in other communities up north. Just want to keep you guys advised. Thank you. Lieutenant Mona?
Good morning, everybody, and thank you for having us here today. And we always talk over the months. Most of this stuff that people ask us and inquire about or email us or call us about are traffic-related issues. Actually, when I came in the Okeechobee gate about 20 minutes ago, I think there was a little car crash there. And the guard goes, "Are you here to work the car crash?" And I looked at her because I didn't hear the crash come out over the radio. I was listening. And I said, "No, I'm sorry, I'm not." She goes, "Oh, okay." And they were pulled off to the side. They were in a safe place. I said, "I'm sorry, but I haven't worked a car crash in about 20 years. I don't even know if I know how to fill it in correctly. But I don't know if that's a good excuse or not." Okay. So anyway, I'm sure people have seen the traffic enforcement from the sheriff's office. It's been pretty robust. And you've heard the numbers month after month. I think you're going to be pretty surprised at the numbers that I give you today. So for February, I'll start with the crashes. We had 5 crashes. It's a little on the higher side. We started dipping down a little bit, which was really good. We'd rather have none. Like, that's perfect, right? 5, we need to be a little bit more aware of our surroundings. And so for traffic citations, I think this is an all-new high, 187.
Wow.
187 tickets were written here in Century Village in 1 month. Written warnings, we did another 112 warnings. So listen, between the two, you're upwards of 300 written documents for traffic. That's really good. We appreciate your support. I will tell you, we're going to continue coming. So you're going to see like a plethora of different things in here. You'll see our motorcycle deputies on their motorcycles. You'll see some marked patrol cars. You'll see some unmarked patrol cars. And they're around. They come at nighttime. They come at dinner time. They come during the day. But we really need to emphasize that people really need to stop at the stop signs, stop passing people on double yellows, stop exceeding the speed limit, so on and so forth. But those are pretty hefty numbers. And, when you really look at the big picture is, what kind of money that costs those that are violating, that are getting those tickets? Tickets are not cheap. It costs you a lot of money. And then you get points on your license. It can hurt your car insurance. And bad things can only happen from that. For cases of interest, actually, it wasn't too bad of a month for February. Somebody's tricycle was taken outside of Camden. We had an issue at the guard gate with a resident that damaged the gate. And I will say on that one, I got involved in that, and we'll be filing criminal charges on that. That actually got sent to the state attorney's office. So, yeah, we had a problem with a gentleman. I guess he's been a chronic issue, and he didn't want to show his identification when he was coming in the gate, and then he decided he was going to break the gate. Not too smart. So now he's facing a criminal charge, which I'm sure at some point that'll come out, and he'll end up having to go to court on that. The fraud cases actually have also come down quite a bit. I'm really proud that our messages to the residents have taken hold. This one at a Coventry, a fraud case, somebody had a Bitcoin account. I don't know how many people have Bitcoin, but I don't play in that stuff. And this was a $10,000 loss. Bitcoin is all digital. It's all electronic. You don't actually have money in your hand. So it's very, very risky. We arrested somebody for misuse of 911 in Northampton on the 17th. And usually what happens is we show up to a call. The resident may not like how we're dealing with the call. Then they'll call 911 to complain or ask for somebody else to come. And it starts going sideways. It gets out of control. Anyway, this person got arrested for misuse of 911. We had a suspicious incident in Cambridge where somebody wanted to report a burglary, but there was actually no evidence that a burglary had occurred. And over in Canterbury on the 21st of February, somebody wanted to report a burglary, but again, there was no evidence that actually a burglary took place. We took 34 police reports last month, and of that, we came into Century Village 350 times. But our CAD system, our computer automated dispatch system, so of those 350 are the traffic stops also. Because each time the deputies write a ticket, it gets put into our CAD system, so that counts as that number. And I don't really have much else. Is there any questions or anything that we can answer here from the front? Yep, good question. So the gentleman asked about speed limit signs being posted. So your development here is a gated development. So for us to enforce any traffic laws, you need a traffic control agreement with the county. To get a traffic control agreement, you have to go through an engineering process. Part of that process is your sign placement, the sign verbiage, and where they're placed throughout the community. With that being said, I don't know if you could just arbitrarily put more signs where you want. I think you have to stay within the guidelines and the parameters of the engineering agreement, which I think deals with statute and law. But I would probably pose that one here internally. They would have probably on the UCO side, would have the paperwork that would see if you can or cannot. I don't have a really good answer on that one. I don't see why more signs would hurt you. I just don't know the legality of putting more signs up with a traffic agreement. Good question. Sir, in the front?
Yes, I found myself very effective when they have the electronic detector speed.
Okay. The speed signs.
Signed by electronic.
Yes.
And this is for another police department. There is UCO. They could put 2 or 3 permanent signs throughout the village. Because I find with me, it is very, very, very effective. Sometimes you come from the outside,
Yep.
40 miles an hour, you don't realize, and they say, oh, I am in Century Village.
Yep. So this gentleman's asking about the electronic speed limit signs. You'll see them on the streets as you're coming up to them, big white kind of box that flashes your speed as you're going. We at the sheriff's office do have those electronic signs, but we place them in areas where we do have complaints. So we have to rotate those through our region. Now, if the Century Village wants to purchase that, you can. It is a very effective tool, but that's something, obviously they're not cheap. They'd have to find the money or budget the money to do something like that. Again, I'd probably ask that on the UCO side and see what their feelings are. But I can also have our sheriff's office signs placed in here. They get moved around to different areas within, but unfortunately, I can't permanently leave them here. Sir? Okay. Okay. Yeah, no problem. So, I'll email my traffic guys and tell them to give some attention over there on North Drive. But listen, we can't be at every place at every second. Unfortunately, you're going to have people that are going to be careless behind the wheel or even reckless behind the wheel. If we don't witness it, obviously, we cannot take any action. We have to witness the traffic infraction. We have to see it. So with that being said, I will tell them to give some attention, but can I promise that that won't happen again? I cannot. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think our numbers for the traffic report today kind of speak of our attention that we've given Century Village and that we're here quite a bit. And we'll take care of your street. No problem, sir. Ma'am? I'll repeat it. Okay, she wants more attention to the Haverhill Gate for traffic issues? Yep, no issue. Yeah, we've heard about the Haverhill Gate issues before, and not an issue. And so I'll take care of North, and I'll take care of Haverhill for you. No problem. Ma'am, in the back?
Wow.
The Haverhill Gate issue, okay. When the pedestrian light's on. So as long as somebody can make a turn in a safe manner, so the pedestrian has the right of way. So if there is a pedestrian crossing and is not the pedestrian crossing sign is not red, and it is that clear white, usually it's like a white color, you have the right of way. And as long as, so if I want to make a turn, but you're just coming across and you're on the totally opposite side and I can make a safe turn, I could still make a turn as long as I came to a stop before I make the turn. Now, if you're coming across and you're 50% away through and you're coming across, obviously I'm going to stop. You have the right of way. Pedestrians walking out. Okay. Yeah, I'm just hearing. I'm going to repeat it to you. Yeah, no problem. So, again, one half dozen or the other. The person in the car is the one taking a chance to make the turn. But again, and it's unfortunate if it happens, if you do get hit, remember, you have the right of way. We hope that you're still with us at the point that it happens. But listen, I can put people there to watch that, but as soon as we pull away, unfortunately, that behavior continues. So you have to be more situationally aware of your surrounding. And if you feel that somebody may make a turn in front of you, I would stop your progress as you're crossing, because there's no sense in you taking that chance either. So, but we'll give it attention. Okay? Sir?
Oh, yeah, there he is over on the other side. Yeah, I
Yep. So, yep. Yeah, so the complaint is that there's some residents that are walking in the middle of the street at night in the dark. Listen, unfortunately, I mean, if you want to call and you want to have us send a deputy out there to remind people to stay off, well,
Here we go again.
yeah, I can't control them walking in the street. You know, I can tell them that it's best if they're on the grass or on a sidewalk. If they want to take that chance, then, you know, between the security here, that you have really good security with Platinum here. You got the COP people here that can also assist in that. All right. You have a question also. Go ahead, sir.
Whose obligation is it to put the yellow lines in the middle of the street, especially on the Haverhill Gate, 3 blocks?
Is it on Haverhill or in Century Village?
It's Century Village.
So that's your community.
That's the community.
Yeah.
Because I mean, cars are driving on the opposite side. It's
Lieutenant, I spoke to this tenant earlier today. He advised me of an issue, and I'll take a look at it later today, all right?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Foster. Appreciate it. All right, folks. Go ahead. We got one more question. Yep. So on our warnings, what constitutes whether somebody breaks the law and how we deal with that? Yeah, it's a really good question. So we have something called discretion. So discretion allows us to determine whether we want to write a ticket or we want to write a warning. So every deputy is different. Every traffic deputy that works for me is different. I don't have a straight answer for that. I could tell you that over my 31 years here, I normally determine how I'm going to deal with things upon my initial contact with somebody. If that person's going to give me total pushback, they're going to argue with me, they're going to fight with me, then they're probably going to get a ticket. Because I'm not going to sit there and be a punching bag either.
I have a question.
Hold on. Go ahead, sir. On warnings? Yeah, for sure. So anytime somebody gets a traffic ticket or a warning, or we pull your car over, remember we have to call out your license plate on your car. It does track it in our CAD system. So if we have conducted previous traffic stops on your vehicle, it's going to be in our CAD system, and the deputies have that information. But listen, you know, most of us are out here for educational purposes. We don't want to hurt you in the pocket. You know, to think that we're out here just to make life difficult for you, that's totally not what we're out here for. You know, we're here to educate. If we can change the behavior by just talking to you and knowing that you won't do that again, that's better than giving you a ticket. So,
Sir, Ed Grossman, Treasurer. I have a question. Obviously, I've looked at the original agreement between us and yourselves. Now, that goes back a long time. We keep talking about violations, people can get hurt, and obviously, your ability to want to give a ticket is one of the best methods of trying to control this. So what I see is, this is a matter of economics. That agreement was signed many, many years ago. What would it take for us to pay a stipend that you could increase your presence here? Because if not, all we're doing is talking every month.
so I would probably pose that over to Donald Foster on the UCO side. Just if you're looking to have a deputy here, whether it's 8 hours a day or 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you know, we do have deputies that work what we call contracts. They are assigned to your development. They answer calls to service. They do traffic control. They help the people. They do everything. Whereas right now, when you call, you get a deputy in a sector that's going to answer your call. And then the people that are coming in to do the traffic enforcement, you're getting our traffic deputies. But they're assigned throughout the North region. But if you're looking to do a study to see if the residents would be okay with us coming into your community on more of a permanent basis, I'd probably run that through Donald and see what you guys come up with, and then I can work with you and Donald, and they can work some budgetary pricing
Yeah,
options for you.
Ed, just to give some more detail on that, and we probably should have discussed this before the meeting. If UCO, ultimately with the delegate assemblies, decide that they would like to have more police coverage, we can hire off-duty deputies to do road patrol at all different times, and we would pay for that directly. But they have the same powers as a policeman. So that's something you probably would want to discuss first in your security committee, your finance committee, and move it up the line from there. But I do know communities that have actually gotten rid of their private security and only have a PBSO off-duty deputy as their enforcement. Golden Lakes is the one I have in mind, actually.
Yeah, well, I can also tell you that those that are familiar with Kings Point down in Delray Beach, they have 2 deputies assigned in there permanently. So I don't think it's 24-hour coverage. I know it's 7 day a week, but I believe it's around 16 hours a day. But those deputies are in there just in Kings Point. And there are other developments, larger developments, that do contract with the sheriff's office.
And it's a matter of what the community is willing to pay for. It's that simple.
Well, thank you for your time, and have a great weekend. Enjoy this beautiful day, and we'll see you in a month. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Has everybody gone through the minutes? Are there any questions to the minutes? Any corrections to the minutes? Good. So why don't you make a motion to accept the minutes first, and then we can discuss it?
I make a motion to accept the minutes.
Who's going to second it? Seconded by John Hess. All right, what's your question, Dan?
Okay, on Rod Tennyson, it just, what about the other buildings
That's
that are
not in
not
the
three?
minutes. We're questioning the minutes.
Minutes.
What does the minutes have to do with Rod's letter?
Oh, it doesn't say anything, okay.
No, the minutes. He's just talking about.
No, it's a question,
You're
question
going,
on the
I
minutes.
understand that, but we're questioning the minutes that were submitted from last month's meeting.
Ah,
Are there any questions or corrections
No.
to this? Okay. Yes, sir. Why don't you come up to the microphone so everybody could hear you?
There's a reference in the minutes to a Carol Zeppesi, who nominated some folks for the executive board,
Right,
and that she's in Chatham Q.
right.
We don't have a Carol in Chatham Q. That must be a typo.
Carol's here. She knows where she lives.
Okay.
What building are you in, Carol? G. So the correction would be Chatham G.
Okay,
Thank you.
so the correction is Chatham G. Thank you for that. Any other corrections? All right. Minutes will be accepted as presented. Thank you. Corrected. Corrected minutes, yes. Okay, we're going to do with officers' reports. Patricia, you're first. Ladies first.
Oh, then that's her. No, I'm kidding. Good morning. It's good to see so many people here today. I hope you all voted.
Hold on a second. I'm sorry, we do have a quorum. We have 196 delegates signed in today.
Excellent.
Ed.
I do want to remind everyone, boy, the months are going fast and I'm getting older every minute, that on the 12th, don't forget to change your clocks. It's daylight savings, so we lose an hour's sleep. Also, spring starts March 20th. Shocking, isn't it? Seems like it was only the holidays. Anyway, I would like to say one thing. My office is always open. I love talking to people, but if you come in for advice, you really should follow that advice. I go out with Donald sometimes, and I know you people have been listening to this forever, but it's the same old story. Don't take down a wall. Anything you do in your unit, anyone, you need board approval, and a lot of times you need the whole building's approval. So please, please stop doing that. You're just creating more problems. People are being put out that have nothing to do with it. It's a shame. And it hurts me to see people being thrown out of their unit. Other than that, I wish you all a wonderful and blessed day. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. Stewart?
I hope you all remember your Shakespeare where it said, "Beware the Ides of March." And I certainly don't want anybody here to wind up like Julius Caesar. However, I want to address a couple of comments that were made by the people in the audience, especially about automobile drivers. We had the police did put up a speed sign that was here, and it said 25 miles an hour, and 99% of the people that drove past it, did not slow down. That's the behavior that we're dealing with here. Yesterday, the police and two unmarked cars stopped a woman in front of my building, and when they checked her license, it was invalidated, and so she had to leave the car parked there and waited for her son to come in from Boca to remove it and put it by her building. We've had people come in every day, bicycle riders complaining about the drivers and drivers complaining about bicycle riders. And it's a behavior that is just part of the living here in Century Village. And no matter what we say and no matter what we do, we ask people to go slow. They just don't pay any attention. And the only thing is, the only place that I know that's worse than Century Village is the Publix parking lot. So anyway, we're here, and anybody who has any issues, we've had people come in with issues in their building. We're available to go to your meetings and help out, and that's about it. And since the March is rolling in very quickly, think about June and the hurricane season and start preparing your building for what could happen down the line. Thank you.
Thank you, Stewart. Dominic?
Good morning. I put an ad, not an ad, a little article where the vice president is making a statement in the Reporter. And once again, people are mistaking how to get a barcode. And I'm concerned about it. It seems that the message isn't getting out there. And what we try to do is get you through with verve and alacrity and get you on your way, and it's been a difficult situation, but this is what it is. Other than that, I have nothing else to say. I'm very pleased to see all of you people this morning, and we're all here to listen to the results of the elections. Thank you very much, folks.
Thank you, Dominic. Joanne?
Thanks, everyone, for showing up. It's great to see turnout that we had for our election and for the meeting. The results of the election will be posted later today on both the Village blog and our TV station on channel 590. I think it'll be 590 or 91 or 92. But we're going to try and get those posted for you as soon as we can today. I see a lot of new faces I've noticed coming in today that I hadn't seen here before. If you're not already participating on the mailing list, go to the blog, and you can find the blog, easily do a Google search for Century Village blog is all you have to search for, and it'll take you to Our Village in West Palm Beach. And that'll take you right into the blog, and try and, pin it to your desktop or keep it as your favorites, because you're going to see a lot of information posted there. For those of you that don't regularly use the blog, I really encourage you to go there and stay informed of what's going on, because everything gets posted there as soon as it happens. And you can sign up for the mailing list there to get hard copy if you needed of things to post on your bulletin boards, et cetera. But other than that, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne. Bob?
Morning, everybody. We're earlier talking about the speed limits on in the village, all right? One thing I want to point out is the highest speed limit in the village is 25. You should be able to understand that if you're over 25, you're over the speed limit, so you're eligible to get one of those little tickets, all right? I want to also point out one thing that is kind of a pet peeve of mine. It was when I see people get up and walk out of a meeting in the middle of it. Please don't do that. You're doing a disservice to your association, all right? Stay for the whole meeting, and at least you'll be able to report back to your association what's going on, all right? We are starting a Veterans Committee. All right, I am seeking volunteers to join that committee, to be on it. You do not have to be a veteran to be on the committee, all right? Just get in touch with me, leave a message at UCO, leave me your name, your phone number, and I will get in touch with you, all right? That's all I got. You guys have a good day.
Thank you, Bob. Okay, I have a couple of things to bring. Thank you, everybody that came in and voted today. In your package, on the very last page, there's a sheet. Please read it. We have a lot of questions. People are coming in asking the vice presidents or the insurance, what is covered by the building and what does the unit owner have to be responsible for? It's a nice little checklist. Please read it. Give it to everybody in your building, post it on your bulletin board, make everybody aware of what the building's responsibility and what they're responsible for. A lot of people are coming in that buildings are having elections. You must fill in a form. The other day, we had somebody come in. The last time the form was filled in was 2007. Okay? Well, it's the same people. Must be the only building that nobody dies, nobody goes away. Okay? You must update every year. Okay? It makes our life and your life a lot simpler. Now, there's a cutoff date. The Wednesday before Delegate Assembly is when it must be there. Okay? That's the last day. Yesterday, we must have had a half a dozen people that came in on Thursday. Well, we have new delegates. Well, it's too late. Okay? It has been the same procedure for at least the last 10 years. Be responsible, update your list. If you didn't get in, if you made an update yesterday, you'll be able to vote next month. And it's the responsibility of the new officers and old officers to get certified. Everybody knows within 90 days of being elected, you need to go to a certification class. I understand they're available online, and I'm sure that they're very good. I haven't taken it. But the best thing to do is to go in person. I know that Mark Friedman's going to have one very shortly. There was one in downtown at the convention center. They're all over the place. Please attend them. There's a lot of things that you can learn, especially listening to what other people in our community are doing and what their responsibilities are. For committee chairs, after this month's election, every committee chair will receive an email from David appointing you or reappointing you as committee chair of that committee. It is your responsibility to populate that committee. There are certain committees that he has to approve, but most of the committees, the chair has the responsibility to populate that committee. We found out recently that people are not turning in attendance sheets. They're not turning in minutes, and we don't know who's on that committee. which drives our administrative secretary crazy. Somebody comes in and we have 12 people on a committee. All of a sudden, we have 26. We've never been told. You need to know. We need names, addresses, phone, and it's your responsibility as committee chair to turn those sheets in. She's very thoughtful. She makes packages up. She has everything there. At least you could do is check off who's there and who's not there. If there's any questions, see me this afternoon and we'll explain it to you. Included in the package is a letter from most of us that are, well, the ones that are in the 3-story and above buildings. Everybody knows that there's a phase 1 and phase 2 inspections that need to be done. There are some questions that are coming up, inconsistencies in the law that sooner or later we're all going to have to follow. It's a matter of time, but sooner or later. So we've included in the package a letter that was drafted by our attorney, Rod Tennyson, giving you the basic guts of the new law, the statute SB 4D, okay? For those of you that are in 3-, 4-story buildings, read it, digest it, and get ready for it. For those of you that are 1- and 2-story buildings, get ready. It's coming, sooner or later. The other thing that we were told last week, I know we all got hit with very, very large insurance premiums. Get ready. Next year, they're going to go up about 50% of what we paid this year. And on top of that, we were told the insurance companies are not happy of how your buildings were evaluated for their net worth. So buildings that went up $1 million, $2 million, they're not happy. They said they're worth more money, and they're basing it on the fact of what it costs to replace the square footage to replace that unit. So be ready, and just remember, if you've never had reserves, start putting reserves together, because that list, most of us know under 718, we're responsible for 3 reserves: the roof, the paint, and the sidewalk or the streets. That list is now growing to 10, including wiring, including plumbing, and infrastructure reserves. So those of you that have no reserves, start reserving, because it's coming. The 3- and 4-story buildings, we're going to have to do it, and we have to be diligent on it. One of the things that kind of like was a shock to us, there was a few people in the room that heard the same thing that I did. Well, what happens if I don't do anything? Well, you know, I don't have to have reserves. I don't have to fix my building. Well, if something happens, your insurance company will not cover you if you're not doing your due diligence, and you can be held liable personally. So get ready. It's coming. Better to be educated, start saving your money, and be ready that your cost to live in Century Village, or not only Century Village, but other places, is going to be a little bit higher than what we're paying now. Now, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but it's going to hurt everybody. It's going to hurt everybody. That concludes my report, so I'm going to give it to the treasurer for his report.
What's that?
You're up, Ed.
Oh, I'm glad you spoke up. Very good. I think, just a general comment, the only committee that has to be approved by the officers is mine, the Finance Committee. An overall observation is the days are gone that the way of life of condominiums in Florida is going to change dramatically. And I think that's basically because they screwed up down in Florida. I just want to bring to all of you attention that this month contains the Ides of March. For those of you who don't know what the Ides of March is, in Roman times, you had to square all your debts by March 15th. It's getting close. It's become very well remembered because it's the day that Julius Caesar was killed, and the operation of Rome changed dramatically as the operation of any condominium, including Century Village, is changing every day. I want to also bring to your attention that you do not have a financial report in this month's package, and that's because in an effort to try to fit a square hole in a round hole, it didn't work because of not having enough knowledge within our organization to do it properly, and I'd rather not issue a report unless I feel it's competent and I have time to check it. We are working on it now, and I will just say that we're not bankrupt, and hopefully we'll have everything for you in a correct manner by next March. We will finish the current report and have 2 reports so that we don't miss anything out. Just
Next March.
be healthy, and as always, I'm available. You can call me, you can come to the office. I suggest you call first because, quite frankly, for circumstances right now, I'm not in the office every day, but that will change, God willing. Is there any questions? Could you come up so I could hear?
She said, did you mean next March or next month? That's what I was.
Next month.
What?
I know, he said next March.
Yes, the report that was supposed to be included in this report was for February. We gave you a January report. So you will have in April 2 reports, the one that you're not receiving today and the one for next month.
Doesn't make any sense.
Is there any other questions?
Leave it be.
Thank you, and have a wonderful day.
Donald, you're up.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, as Patricia reported to you earlier, this week she and I got to visit yet another building where yet another kitchen wall was removed without permits or authorization, and the second floor decided to try to become the first floor. And unfortunately ended with 2 units being made off limits for habitation. And this Waltham Association now has their hands full with legal matters, hiring an engineer, and it's going to be months to get this straightened out. I cannot say this enough. No work should be done in your buildings without permits, without the express written permission from the board, and in most cases, things that involve common elements, such as interior walls, you usually will need to have a membership vote before the board can even give authority to keep going. So it just keeps happening, and we help as best we can. Along those lines, we got a little bit of help from the county this week. Fausto went to the condo expo, ran into one of our senior building officials, and found out that we have a new regulation in place at the county, which brings the unincorporated county in line with some of the municipalities like Town of Palm Beach, North Palm Beach. From this point on, any permit application that involves common element, that would be exterior walls, interior walls, pipes, wires, anything that belongs to the association, the unit owner will need to have an approval letter from the board. My experience with this was they usually will accept 2 board members in the seal or the CAM's signature in the seal, or they won't. Or otherwise, they won't issue the building permit, which is on the surface good because they're gonna help us enforce our documents. What you guys are going to start seeing in the near future is your unit owners are going to be coming to you and asking for these approval letters. And that's where the ball is really in your court. At that point, do not pass go directly to your attorney. Your attorney has to make sure that in order to give the authorization to move forward, that you've satisfied your documents, had engineering done, satisfied licensure and insurance requirements. This is not approval that should be given lightly to the unit owner. And at all times, the board should be making the decision collectively, not a single board member saying, okay, sure, go for it. So that's something good. I think it will be very helpful to us with this problem that just keeps coming. Just one last thing. Fausto told you about this letter that came from Attorney Tennyson involving the new rules coming down from 718. This statute and how to respond to it is definitely a work in progress. Attorneys are arguing with each other about it. Insurance professionals are having their own way. We don't know how this is going to shake out, but I can't imagine that it doesn't shake out where there needs to be more money salted away in the associations. So I agree with Fausto, and I'll push it even further. Start salting away some money. The rules are about to change. So that's all I have for today. If anybody has any questions for me, I'm happy to answer.
Over here.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Donald.
Hi, Mary Ann.
Hi. I just have two comments.
Sure.
First of all, I understand what you're saying about the walls, we all know. The
Sure.
problem is most of the people who are removing the walls are not here today.
That's correct, and that's where I think the county is doing us a big service
Yeah.
by making sure that they don't give out permits that the board isn't aware of.
Correct.
So I think this will be a good stopgap, but, beyond that, now that your unit owners will now be forced to go to you, the board, for these. Once you get that request, just don't give it. You really need to check with an attorney each and every time. And the board can simply say no. There will be no alterations to the common element. There are exceptions, particularly when it has to do with handicap accommodations, things like that nature. But, you can just say no. We're not allowing it. But if you're going to allow whatever the alteration is, make sure you check all the boxes, that this protects you and protects your neighbors, keeps the place safe. Okay?
The other comment I have is for Bob.
Yes.
Your pet peeve is people getting up and leaving in the middle of a meeting. I take the first Friday of every month, half a day off of work. Sometimes this meeting runs a little late with disagreements, and I have to get up and leave to go to work. So you got to take that into consideration. Some of us still work.
I understand that, but this meeting is scheduled from 9:30 till 12.
Right, but sometimes it runs a little
You're going to
late.
be scheduling for that amount of time, you should.
So if
be
you
able
see
to
me
stay.
leaving, take no offense.
Don't take it.
All right.
None taken.
Any questions for Donald?
Yes,
Hi, Ed.
Donald, I think what you said is very important. I think what Fausto said is very important. And what we have here are people who are going forward and giving their time voluntarily. Up
Indeed.
to this time, and I've been 15 years or so president of my association, anybody who's on that board, from what I hear, is subject to criminal charges. Now, that's a heavy handle to carry. It almost says that you have to have a lawyer at every meeting so that you're following the rules. And it's up to you
I don't know.
to continue to expose yourself to what could be a criminal charge because those in government failed to do their job originally.
Ed, just in response, I hear what you're saying about having licensed professionals at board meetings, but I think saying that a lawyer needs to be at every meeting is probably not going to happen. But I do encourage all boards, when they have their meetings, to invite their property manager, who has a certain level of licensure and knowledge and can advise the boards on procedure. And one of the things that we're trained to do is to know when to stop and say, yeah, you're going to bring that one to the attorney. But I try to have my CAM, Shauna, at all of my annual meeting, my budget meeting. We don't really have board meetings, but when we do, and you have managers, that's what you pay them for. And for the most part, you get good advice if they're there, right on the spot.
Donald, I agree with you. At every meeting, we have our property manager, but I think it's a sharp line for a property manager to carry because, as you know, being a property manager, the lawyers feel that you are crossing the line many times and
Sure.
practicing law without a license.
Well, that's the line that we have to be careful not to cross. And keep in mind that many of these boards, the last thing they want to hear from their CAM is, you need to go to the lawyer, because that's money. It's not an easy thing to have to say, but you have to say it.
Yes, Dan?
Yeah, on the meeting that we both had at the convention center, the lawyer said the new law says that the CAMs can give no more any advices. And this specific, I even copied it. I took a picture of it. The CAM should not give any more advices.
Well, we should
No,
never
no,
give
no.
it, we
It's
should never give
legal advice.
Yeah.
I was at the same meeting that you were at, and the question was legal advice. But as a CAM, the CAM can tell you, this is something that you need to go to the attorney. And every day, we have people that come into the UCO office, and as soon as somebody says, I'm involved in a lawsuit, I'm this, I'm that, the first thing we tell them,
Lawyer.
you need to talk to your lawyer, okay? Now, I'm gonna kind of like, I know maybe we scared everybody, but you're volunteering to be an officer in your building or on the board. As long as you follow 718, you have nothing to worry about, okay? So don't be afraid to be on the board. Don't be afraid to get sued. As long as you follow 718, and if you're not sure, that's what you have a lawyer for, okay? It's unfortunate, but, you know, some people say, well, if I'm going to get sued personally, I don't want to be on the board. That doesn't help you. That actually hurts the building. But if you stay educated, go to the seminars, learn, read the laws, and we give seminars here. There's a wealth of information that's available through Donald, through UCO. Stay on top of it. Go on the computer. Punch in 718. If you have nothing to do, it's almost like reading the Bible or War and Peace.
the Bible.
There's a lot of information there that needs to be addressed. Don't be afraid of being an officer.
Hi, Bonnie Schwartz, Somerset C. I have a question in regard to the Becker condominium. What happens after the 91st day if a board member did not take that course?
That board member becomes ineligible to serve on the board.
Good, thank you. Thank you.
Yep.
Donald?
What?
3 years,
Yeah,
or as long as you continually serve on the board.
right.
Fausto?
Yes. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, I just want a quick second bite. For those people that are presidents of their association and they're filling out this form, please put down alternates for your delegates. All right, don't put yourself down and forget everybody else. All right, because if you're not here, again, you're doing a disservice to your association. Plus, that makes you look pretty bad when you do that. All right.
Okay.
One more thing.
What else you got?
Is the delegate for Somerset F here?
Hold on a second. Right.
I don't know anything.
I'll look it up.
I can't see it. I can't see it.
I believe that's an insurance term. To be honest with you, I don't know, but this was generated by an insurance company. So since Dan is an insurance person, why don't we ask him to answer that? Okay. Okay, that's good. Insurance coverage.
ACIC refers to the Atlantic Casualty Insurance Company. So this is just a guideline that was put out by one of the carriers.
Very Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Don.
All right. Bobby, would you give us an update, please? Bobby's been doing a very good job with her committee she needs a big round of applause. When she started, she had all black hair.
Right. I'm glad to report that out of approximately 135 UCO volunteers, almost 100 have responded that they will attend our volunteer luncheon on March 12th. We've got a really nice afternoon planned for everybody. The doors to the party room will open at noon, and lunch will be served at approximately 12:30. Now, because time is very short that afternoon, the installation of new offices and new board members will take place at noon on the stage in the party room. So I hope that all present offices and board members, as well as newly elected offices and board members, will be in the party room at noon when Judge Jamie Goodman will officially install all the new officers. Any newly elected officer who has not responded to the luncheon, please let me know right away that you will be attending, because we are only setting the table for the exact number of people who have responded. And I think that's it. So please just remember, installation is at noon, lunch is at 12:30.
Thank you, Bobby.
Don't forget about that time change.
Yep. Okay. Do we have any unfinished business? Oh, I'm sorry. We have unfinished business. Our UCO reporter, Miss Ruth. I apologize.
You always apologize. Good morning, everybody. How are you today? I have a financial report for you for the reporter, and it goes through February 22nd. We made $610 so far. Our revenue was $11,405, and our expenses were $10,795. Why so much? Well, production and graphic artwork take up the most. One is over $5,000, and the other one is close to $4,000. Then we have computer maintenance, paper delivery, and accounting fees. That's what it costs us to produce a paper for you. Now, I've been getting a lot of complaints about paper delivery, that they're not receiving them in the buildings. That's not my domain. I hand it over to Donald. He assures me that every building is getting their papers. What's happening to them afterward is anybody's guess, but you are getting papers.
Yeah, just to clarify that, we typically order 4,500 copies for 7,854 units, with the understanding that some people in the building don't care to read the paper, aren't in town, vacant units, and so forth. So the delivery agent's rough instructions are 3/4, of the amount of he counts the units and then he puts in. But if you run out, just send me an email. I'll keep running them out to you as long as we have extra copies. This month we did sell out. We gave away all our copies, and I would say that's because of the election. People wanted to see the ballots. So if you need a paper and need it delivered to your place, give me an email. I'll send it right out. I'll bring it myself. All right?
Okay, then, all I can say is happy St. Patrick's Day to those who celebrate the wearing of the green. Have a nice month, and we'll see you in April.
Ruth,
Who's that?
I'd like to say a word. I talk a lot. But Ruth Dress is doing a job that when I first came here, there was a room full of people to accomplish it. And I think she's doing a Herculean job, because if you're questioning what a few dollars cost, just figure the amount of labor and materials that are not being used, that they use, and space. They had a separate space. Right now, Ruth is doing it in an office at the UCO building, and I think she deserves a round of applause.
I think she needs a raise. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, that's correct. There is an option for a board member to sign I believe it's an affidavit that says, "I have read and understood my association's documents and statute 718." I don't tell anybody about it because I kind of want them to take the class, but yes, that is an option. Okay.
But the only thing I'm going to tell you, Joyce, with that, if you read your bylaws and your bylaws have not been updated and you don't go to the seminars, you know what was yesterday. You don't know what's there today. So I recommend that everybody updates themselves. Go ahead, Ruth.
And listen, you sign that affidavit, you put in your signature to it. You have to tell the truth that you did read it. To do otherwise is fraud, really.
But
take the class, it's worth it.
But it's true, if your documents have not been updated, they're really useless. I want to tell you, I took the class online. There's a link you can get. Donald can give you the link. You can take the class online. I sat through it. It's very interesting. And then you can get your certificate online, print it out, give it to the secretary of your building, and you're good for 3 years or as long as you remain on the board.
I would suggest you put that in the next paper, Ruth.
All right. Okay, do we have any new business? Yes, ma'am. Come up to the microphone, please. That becomes your building's documents.
Yeah, it's not a requirement to post it, but it would go into your association's records.
Any new business? Sure.
Not all. Not all.
We don't. There are available online. There are some attorneys which offer them online. Okay?
I mean, no. They go on the blog.
D-
This one is on the blog.
They're
No,
on the
the
blog. They're on the blog.
No, they're recorded and they're put up on the blog. But on in-time Zoom-type meetings, no. Is that your question?
Well,
Yeah.
some of the meetings are.
Yeah, some of them are, but he's talking about Delegate
Yeah.
Assembly. So. And if you go on the blog and you're out of town, the UCO reporter is in there. You can read it every month, in case you people go up north where it's nice and cold while we're warm. Okay. No more new business? Yes, ma'am. Sure. I forgot to tell him to put a microphone in the back.
Yeah, I know.
Hi, Joanne Deutsch. I'm Dorchester C president. I want to talk about the pitch tar roof that went up at the Oxford building, which backs up to our buildings at Dorchester. This project started February 11th and approximately finished last week. Coal tar pitch roof is antiquated and hazardous substance and has been banned in many states, including Texas, New York, Maryland, Maine, Washington, D.C., and it's mainly used for industrial buildings, certainly not residential condos. This project had a kettle in front that went 24/7 with fumes coming over to Dorchester. Fog, fumes, we had headaches, coughing. This is a hazardous substance, and this is the hazardous substance fact sheet from New Jersey Health about coal tar pitch, what it can do to your system, and also to your breathing, to the air, on your clothes, into your condos. We could not go outside for 2.5 weeks with this going on, this project. Not to mention the poor workers on the roof. You're supposed to be wearing hazmat suits and masks, and these poor workers on the roof had nothing on, breathing all this stuff in. I can't believe that this was allowed to go on here in this community. The compounds in there include carcinogens such as benzene, which give you headaches, nausea, lung issues. If you have asthma, good luck to you. Respiratory tract infections, you are breathing the tar fumes in. This never should have been allowed there. I should have called OSHA. Came back one night, we saw the kettle on fire. The flames went up past the building, My husband and I ran around to see what was going on, and I called security, and security, the woman there said, oh, we'll send somebody immediately. Nobody came. I called up again, and she said, they're working on the roof. This was at night, where they're working on the roof. This project, they were working on the roof at night too, all the time. It was so dangerous. Now, the workers, who nobody spoke English there, they were hosing down the kettle, and we were watching as all those nice oils were going down the storm drain right in front of Oxford. And that is probably against the law, too.
Donald, could you address this, please?
Sure. Mrs. Deutsch, as you can imagine, my phone's been blowing up for 2
Yes.
weeks about this tar and gravel roof, which was put on Oxford 500. And I did respond, I'm sure you know. As far as I can determine, the job was permitted. It was inspected throughout by the county inspectors. The vendor that did the work, which is Ranger Roofing, is a reputable firm. They, if they're doing anything, it's being done within regulations. Tar and gravel roofs, to my mind, are the gold standard of flat roofs, and it unfortunately involves cook and tar, which stinks to high heaven, and it drives everybody crazy. And I don't doubt that there's some hazardous vapors there.
Here.
And oddly enough, all the complaints came from Dorchester, Cambridge, Canterbury, but nothing east of there because of the prevailing winds. I'm glad the project's over, but as far as stopping the job from happening, UCO has zero authority over the self-governance of any of the associations. As long as they're operating within the code and within the law, there's very little that we can do other
What
than...
about stopping it in Century Village? There are
Again,
better methods.
UCO does not meet the requirements of a master association to stop work like that. As a matter of fact, it's in our bylaws that we here at UCO may not interfere in the internal self-governance of any of your association as well. We can advise, and believe me, I did a bit of that. I interacted with the contractor to keep it down to a bare minimum, but ultimately the job had to get done. So hot tar is going to stink, and Florida has regulations, and to my understanding, the regulations were followed. So I'm sorry that bothered you while that was happening.
Well, it's not just bothering, it's your health. I mean, we were breathing this, my husband had
Well, look,
headaches.
this is, these rules for the whole state, but I'm sure here in our community, we have more than our share of people with breathing difficulties, and it's a little worse for us here. At some point, there's going to be some construction over at the golf course. I'm very concerned about dust. I know it's going to affect us a lot. there's limits to what we can do. But I do sympathize. I'm glad that job's done. So that's kind of all I have on that.
There is a silicone method that other ones in Oxford have done.
Well, as a matter of fact, Fausto and Patricia's building used that very.
We have
very-
the silicone.
Yeah.
So,
How
so
come you didn't say anything while it was going on to anyone there?
she did.
Oh, I
Well, me.
did.
I don't mean you. I mean, why didn't you call someone? I would.
did. I called security.
No, security can't do anything. I mean, outside of the village.
This
All
project
right.
went on for so long.
Planning,
All right.
development code.
This is, listen, I think the answer is the Palm Beach County gave the people a permit to do it.
I
So,
just want to make sure
My
that,
suggestion, myself personally, I know that I have family that lives there, and the smell was not the nicest. I think you should write a letter and complain
Right.
to the Palm Beach
I will.
Building Department that you feel that this should not be allowed in an area where senior citizens live. That would be the best thing that you could do.
And Mrs. Deutsch, just so you know, Century Village now has a dedicated code enforcement officer that does nothing but Century Village. It's its only job. He was on that job almost every day, making sure that they were within the guidelines that the county and the state have.
Okay,
But it's the best I have for you.
that's it.
All right?
All right, yep.
Time.
you want to
Okay.
take this?
All right, thank you.
Time
Okay.
expired a long time ago.
Yes. Niels, could you please?
Hi, Niels. How you doing?
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. So about that roof, and please write that letter and send it to us. I'll be happy to run it by our building official, but I suspect that the response is going to be that because it is allowed by the Florida Building Code, there's not much that he can do about it. But I do want to follow up on that, so I'll give you my card after this, and please send me an email about it. Greg could not be here this morning, unfortunately. He serves on the canvassing board for the March 14th municipal elections. So March 14th is also the day that the county is going to close off 6th Avenue South, just west of I-95. And I know that's kind of far away from here, but maybe you guys shop at Costco. And if you do, Lantana is going to be a lot busier if they close off 6th Avenue South. So if for 6 months they're going to close it off, so and traffic will be diverted through Lantana or 10th Avenue North. So just be aware of that. You may want to go to the Costco in Palm Beach Gardens or something. March 14th is also the date that Greg has been really leading the charge, addressing this spate of anti-Semitic incidents that we have seen in Palm Beach County, right? We saw swastikas being projected on public buildings, leaflets being thrown out, and it's really disgusting and disturbing. So I was really delighted to see some of you yesterday at our town hall that we held in the South County Civic Center in Delray Beach. Was really well attended. There were about 300 or so, 350 people. Really great panel. If you did not have an opportunity to see it live or on social media, we put it on our Facebook page and several other channels. You can still watch it, so I'll send it out. Maybe Dave can put it on the blog, because if you're interested in this topic, I think it was a really successful town hall. With that said, I think that's all I got, but I'll stick around for questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have Amy here from Ann Gannon's office.
And thank you for our brochures, Amy.
Good morning, everyone. I have fallen a victim of the pollen that is in the air, so excuse me. It's hit me hard this year. So, as they mentioned, we do have our tax planner and services guide out for 2023. I like to call this everything you want to know about the tax collector's office and was afraid to ask. It is a very comprehensive overview of all of our services. I've left copies in the UCO office. I also have some with me today if you want to come see me after the meeting. Be happy to hand them out to you, or if you want to grab some for any neighbors. Also, just some friendly reminders. March 31st is your deadline to pay your property tax, and April 1st is the deadline to sign up for the IPP program. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mike from Property Appraiser's office.
Donald.
Well, good morning. Thank you, Fauzi. And I want to apologize. I wasn't here last month, but I was doing something that I thought was really quite interesting. The largest issue facing not just the property appraiser, but the entire public sector of government workers happens to be retirements. It's been coined the silver tsunami, and I spoke before the Department of Revenue to property appraisers, and the facts are that within the next 5 to 6 years, all the baby boomers are going to be retired. And what does that leave us with? That leaves us with the millennials. And the millennials are kind of an interesting group. Right now, in 2016, they passed Generation X as far as the world's most employed generation. And that represents 75% of the entire world population as far as employees go. And this is due to the pandemic. There were surveys done. 85% of employed people see opportunity here. It's really, the market is for the employees these days. And so government is competing with the private sector, getting the best and the brightest workers that are available. And, you know, with inflation comes some of these very interesting statistics that I think you'd be astonished at in the sense that, just a second here, I want to quote you a couple of facts relating to wages and inflation. Example, currently, consumer price index was up over 8.5%, but the median cost of a home in Palm Beach County, Florida, is at $600,000. It's up from 2020, just 3 years ago, was $447,000. The median cost of a condominium is up nearly 25% at $290,000. The median rent in Palm Beach County, this is all rents, is $2,550, up from $1,753 in 2020. And so, as you can see, the public sector, government are competing with the private sector. Private sector's doing a good job. And so the program was about succession planning and creating an environment, a culture for the millennials who think a lot differently than us, you know, baby boomers or Generation X in the way they perceive. As a matter of fact, more than 60% of all the millennials are college graduates. And so that's who is going to be serving us in the near future, and I just wanted to share that with you. The Property Appraiser's Office is here to serve you. Exemptions filing completed March the 1st. You can actually petition to get the exemption. We were here yesterday taking exemption applications, and we're here every month to answer questions and talk to you about value. And that's really all I got for you. Thank you, Fauzi.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, insurance companies have their own valuation system. Okay, number one, you know, it's not based in market value. It's based in replacement cost. And when they do that, they factor in things like if a hurricane comes through, that they're not going to get any materials from Home Depot. They got to go to Atlanta. They tack on all this value and cost. That's why the price is really unbelievably high and not really based in reality, but based in insurance companies making money, as I would say. So I hope that answers your question. Fauci, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Just
See you
one
next
other thing.
section.
Just tell them when you're here every month. Is it the week before the delegate?
No,
assembly?
we're here the first Thursday. Today's the first Friday, so we were here yesterday. We're here from 1:30 to 2:30 in the atrium reception area right outside the store. We have a clerk there, a table, and we can answer questions and take exemption applications for 2025, or 2024. 2023 is over, 2024.
All right.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Al Plotnick, from head of our COPs, wants to inform you about a scam.
Good morning, everyone. First thing I'd like to say is it was brought up about people in the streets. Well, I have instructed my drivers to try and keep the streets clear, but we cannot force the people off the streets. We try. We will have more drivers. We did get, at the medical event that was there, we did have several people signed up as volunteers, and they're in the process now, so we will have more drivers out on the streets. That's number one. Number two, I received this in the mail yesterday, and it's a final notice for your home warranty. On the bottom of it is a check, and it looks like a regular check. And if you sign it and you send it in, then you're responsible for whatever it is that they're selling in this warranty, whether it's valid or not. If you get this in the mail, file it in the same place you put all the rest of your garbage. So don't forget, it comes in an envelope, looks very official, but do not sign it, do not sign anything unless you particularly requested it. Thank you.
Thank you, Al.
Thank you. Okay. As you know, today's elections, Stuart and myself and a lot of board members are up. Congratulations to whoever wins. Thank you for those that have served. And on behalf of Stuart and myself, we'd like to say thank you and hopefully you'll let us give you another 2 years of our dedicated service. Have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy. You got good and welfare? Go ahead.
Oh, we forgot.
New business.
Hold it.
Whatever.
Michigan is coming up.
Or whatever, so I'm sure.
Oh, did I say that?
Waste of time.
Whether you voted for me or not, my name is Les Rivkin, and I want to thank you for coming to help me, the largest group I've ever had in my life, to celebrate my 87th birthday today. So thank you.
Mazel tov. That was the good and welfare. Okay.
All right. Have a good weekend, everybody. We're adjourned.